The Denver Broncos picked up a 44-24 victory Sunday afternoon against the Dallas Cowboys, and in my opinion, this was definitely the best, most complete game of the season. Denver from the start just poured it on. I was a little bit nervous after Bo Nix threw a pick after that first down. The Broncos, the last 5 games, guys, had gone 3-and-out, so to see them get that one to Evan Ingram was definitely encouraging. But then right after that, Bo Nix threw a pick, but the defense was able to hold the Cowboys to just three, and then it was just all Denver at that point. Every single quarter besides the third, Denver scored 13 or more points. Bo Nix was 19 to 29 for 247 yards and 4 touchdowns, which means that after that turnover, he responded with 4 consecutive touchdown passes. We also got to see RJ Harvey with 2 rushing touchdowns. He lined up in wildcat formation at quarterback and ran it in on the goal line, but he also had that 40-yard rush. Harvey, as a receiver, also caught a ball for 5 yards and a touchdown, of course, working to that right side of the field. So Harvey has his best game as a Bronco. J.K. Dobbins goes over 100 yards, 111. If you look at the Sean Payton era, I mean, how many games has a running back gone over 100 yards? I want to say twice now. That's a lot of games, guys. So clearly, when Denver can run the ball, they're at their best because they end up rushing it for 179 yards and they score 44 points. Now, Denver, they haven't run the ball well the entire season. They haven't run the ball well, really, at all that well in the Sean Payton era. So it's encouraging to see J.K. Dobbins be able to have room to work with. There was just absolutely no one in the area. It was good blocking up front, and he was able to bounce, whether it be through the holes or to the outside. Marvin Mims also had 3 catches for 18 yards. Now, when we talk about the receivers, Troy Franklin led the way with 89 yards and 2 touchdowns. I thought Franklin's tape was very impressive. I'm going to break it down more than likely tomorrow. Bo Nix also missed him wide open down the field, which would have put him over 100 yards. But Sutton, 4 for 67. He did the majority of his damage in the second half. The receiving numbers might not look the most impressive on paper, but if you actually watch the game, these guys were wide open and they worked off of the Cowboys' inability to be in coverage. And a lot of that isn't even really the coverage itself. It's the fact that Dallas, they weren't sending pressure and they didn't get home. So Bo Nix had all day to throw and guys got open. So that's why you're not seeing like Troy Franklin and Cortland Sutton have like 150 yards. Denver, they didn't really throw the ball that much. They ran it. They had good special teams play on some of these returns by Mims, and they also gained turnovers. They took the ball away. Dak Prescott threw 2 interceptions. Dak was honestly struggled in this game. He just didn't have a lot of time to throw, and even when he did, Denver was so good in coverage. Penalties were honestly kind of an issue in this game. I mean, 44 to 24 isn't a close game, but the reason it even looks that close is literally because of penalties, whether it was just pass interference, but you're going up against CeeDee Lamb, who's a top 5 receiver, going up against George Pickens, who's one of the more talented receivers. So, of course, it's expected. Patrick Surtain wasn't even targeted. Well, he was a couple of times, but he's able to bat it down or was incomplete, which means that Riley Moss is going to be picked on. And he's okay. I mean, Moss hasn't really had that good of a season. It seems like he's honestly hurt Denver a lot with these penalties. Thankfully, it didn't really matter in this game. But they left Moss in the entire time. And we saw Joe Milton come in. He ends up throwing a deep ball for a touchdown to Jalen Tolbert for 35 yards. It's just kind of funny how things work out that way. Speaking of corners, Jahdae Barron had his first interception. Correct me if I'm wrong here. I don't think he's had an interception this season. So that was cool to see. He just was under the route and he jumped up and made a play. It was a very good game on both sides of the ball. See, Denver's thing is they've had the defense all season, but we've been kind of waiting for these explosive games. The Bengals game definitely was something, but the Bengals at the time were like literally the worst team in football, so I didn't really take much away from it. You know, the Cowboys defense sucks. I mean, the Cowboys defense might be the worst in football, but at least we saw Denver go out there and put up 44 points, and felt like they probably could have put up 60 if they really wanted to. But again, not trying to risk injuries or anything like that, do anything crazy. Pat Bryant had his first touchdown. He goes 2 for 40. He had that 24-yard catch, just working on that fade to the outside. The left outside, that was cool. Evan Ingram had 4 catches. He had a couple of big first downs as well. Ingram just moves the chains. He finds the soft spot. He's a very smart player. I definitely would like to see him get more work. I mean, 4 targets seems a little bit low, but it is what it is. I guess Dobbins also adds 10 yards receiving, and that was that. So everyone stepped up in this game. I mean, this was one of those where you have to look at it and be like, did the Broncos actually have to go out the trade line and bring in another weapon, whether that be another receiver? We talked about, of course, Chris Olave last week on the channel. And this game definitely shows that the Broncos probably really don't have to do that. They just have to continue to feed these weapons and get them more work and roll with it. In terms of the defense, I thought Jonathan Cooper had an amazing game. Nick Benito, he's mostly going to get double team twos, but he definitely made an impact. A lot of the times, these edges were able to cause Dak to speed up, and then he ran into pressure. Even though they don't get credit for the sack, pressures is actually more important of a stat than sacks. I think you should know that if you definitely are a football fan, because you look at like Jonathan Cooper, for example, he's not going to lead the league in sacks, but in terms of pressures, he's going to be certainly towards the top of the league. And then you look at just the run game for Dallas, 108 yards. Devontae Williams, 13 for 41. There's not really much he can do. I mean, Denver's front is just so good, and they made it tough on Williams. A lot of Williams' carries were in short, where you literally needed like a yard or two. Yeah, Williams, he did find the end zone twice, though he fell into it. Dak Prescott had 31 rushing yards. I mean, there was really nothing good that came from Dallas's offense. There really wasn't. Denver just completely dominated this game on all three levels. And the fact that Denver scored 14 points in the first quarter and 13 in the second, it meant that Dallas had to throw the ball a ton, and they weren't able to run it. And it just put them into situations where it felt like Dak had to make a play and step up. And that's why you saw that second pick to a linebacker. It was a backup, a Bronco linebacker. Dak just tried to force it, and he jumped in front of it and had a big-time return, a big boy return. If Denver can run the ball early and get a lead, they're going to be absolutely unstoppable if this defense is coming in fresh because the offense is putting the ball down the field. See, that's been something that this team, they haven't really been able to do consistently. It seems like a lot of the times pretty much every single time, they get off to a slow start offensively and kind of have to come from behind. But when Denver does this and they just get out early and have that control, then they're probably the best team in football. Because if teams have to throw the ball against Denver, and you know that they have to, and you have your pass rush scheme out there, and you're getting home, I mean, there's just nothing that a team's going to be able to do unless you have the skill position players to be able to beat you every time. Like the Colts is the one team I think right now that is a horrible matchup for Denver. The Broncos still should have beat them. That was that BS leverage call, but they have a bunch of weapons, a great offensive line, but that's just the Colts, though. There's no other team in football that has those weapons in that line, and Jones and Taylor. It's just unbelievable. So that's, to me, is probably my pick for the AFC Championship right now. I know it's easy to say, oh, the two teams with the best record, but no, I think the Broncos and the Colts are the two best teams in the AFC, and I mean, that would be an absolute movie. Last time they played, it was a shootout. And the Broncos, again, leverage call. Bo Nix missed a couple of wide open throws. The two losses the Broncos have were literally them beating themselves. But in this game, Bo Nix hit those throws, and he looked locked in. Like, Bo Nix looked like a superstar in this game. And it's not even the stats. I don't care about the 4 touchdowns. It's the decision-making and where he's placing the football. He looked like Drew Brees. Like, Bo Nix was so freaking good, man, and I'm excited for the next game. So taking a look at the schedule, our next game is Sunday morning against the Houston Texans at their place. It's going to be a big game. The Texans look dominant against the Niners. They've got a good defense. We'll see if the Broncos can replicate what they did against Dallas versus the Texans, because, again, it's just a much different defense, and if the Broncos can move the ball at will and run it, I'm going to be very encouraged. Raiders and then the Chiefs, and then the bye week too. So, again, if the Broncos can get really, to me, I'd love to get all three of these games. 2 or 3 would be cool and all, but man, they've got to beat the Texans and the Raiders, and then that Chiefs game at home. I mean, we're gonna find out who they really are. But yeah, guys, I did fly in last night, so I apologize for not getting out a video after the game. But hey, man, we're back, man. We're back, baby. Let's go. Go Broncos.